Hi there. So what I want to talk about is the remote engagement in tools that I use every day for demos and just anytime I share a screen. Imagine you are showing this to the customer and you start to talk about, and then we have an action that searches for customers in the NetSuite, and the customer eyes just go all over the screen because they cannot see where the NetSuite action is, right? Because they don't know the screens as we do, and our eyes can immediately maybe find this box. So what I use every day is some tools to actually, when I talk at the same time, I do some drawings. And here's like the workflow that I typically do. And Mr. Customer, in the action on step 2, what we will be doing is a search customer in a NetSuite, right? And then immediately customers' eyes will be focusing on whatever your mouse is doing. This is one of the tools. Another tool that we'll be talking about is this one. So you can do a little highlight and say, now we're talking about the step 2, where we search the customer in a NetSuite. And another one is more in the PowerPoint and Google Slides. So let's talk about those. So the why is that we can bring in some lessons from the teachers that have used and tried to keep attention and also concentration in engagement in their calls, in their lessons, by, for example, drawing something on a whiteboard, right? Because the problem that we are facing in the business is that lots of CFOs and CIOs, they are so busy, is that they have absolutely no clue what you're talking about when you are just sitting there and blabbling your script. So one of the ways to engage with them in the complex topics is using something like a whiteboard, right? But make it, of course, digital. I will be talking about the Presentify, the tool that I really like. So this is the one that I use. I will be talking about the mouse Posse. So this is this one, and then also the slide overlays. What I will not be talking about is, you're probably asking here yourself, oh, but can we not use the built-in Zoom, Teams, Meet thing that is already built into those tools? So the reason why I don't use that is that, number one, I change those tools very frequently every day because different customers use the different ones, and my muscle memory is just not there. And the reason number two is that Zoom and Teams actually does not allow you to draw and create those kinds of like engagements on top of your slide or on top of your own demo. You're forced to do it in a whiteboard session that is just, like a whiteboard. And sometimes I want to draw immediately on my recipe. And reason number three, it actually takes some time to start those sessions. And here I can just pause, stop, continue talking, and at the same time keep the engagement high, right? And activate those tools in milliseconds. Okay, enough with the reasons. Let's go into Presentify. So what is Presentify? Here is an example of what Presentify is. You can draw different kind of things, and how you activate it. You use your keyboard on your laptop or a standalone like I have it, and the only thing you need is a mouse. That's it. No drawing, no touch screens, nothing else. It's just a mouse and a keyboard. You activate it by hitting Control A as a default command. And what you get here is different things. Like, for example, you can create your own whiteboard to just create a white overlay. And here you can explain to your customer what OPA is and how it can create an SQL database connection and feed your data to Workato. And inside that, there will be a recipe that has multiple steps, right? So I'm not using anything else but this tool and the built-in, like just a full screen whiteboard feature in some coloring that you can change to. So all those colors are settable. So there's just favorite colors you can do. You can draw, you can have some arrows, you can draw some boxes, you can write inside the boxes, and of course you can just delete all this stuff and then go back showing your slide. How you get this tool? You buy it on Apple. So this is Apple only, and it lives here inside Presentify screen annotation, and it costs $6 to buy. I really. So the next one is a mouse Posse. This is actually one of my first one that I started to use when showing something very complex. And what this does, and it activates by hitting some commands, And what it does is this little overlay that dims everything on your screen except for the steps. And here's how I use it. Mr. Customer, you remember this recipe that we created together? It was about uploading Salesforce account data to Box. And here was the first step that we used. And if they are not present, we will upload them to Box. Done with the demo. Okay. So how would you buy this? It's a website that you need to go to, and the website is, you will have the link. And what you can use just to try it out, you don't need to buy it. You can have an unlimited free trial. And the difference would be is that in unlimited free trial, you will always have this powered by Mouse Posse. Otherwise, you can buy it for $13 per year. So it's a subscription service. Okay, and the tool number 3 is what I call the slide overlay demo. And this is how it looks like. So this is just a slide with a screenshot that does the following that you can show the customer. Hi, Mr. Customer, do you remember trigger that hits on new account in Salesforce? And again, it goes to action number 2, goes to action number 3 to check if it exists or not, and then creates a folder in Box. So what this was is a technique that can be used inside slides or PowerPoint. And here's how you can do this. So let's say first that you saved some screenshots from your previous demo, which I, by the way, highly recommend to do all the time, because it might, you never know when you need to show the same demo again, and maybe the recipe is not available anymore, or you've deleted it, or something happened, right? So you have the screenshot and you want to create this kind of slide overlay. So what you do is create first a screenshot, paste it in, then go to insert, shape, and just a simple rectangular shape. Insert it as a full screen shape so it covers everything. Remove the border or set it to transparent, and then set the color of this shape to black, 50% transparent, right? So you adjust this with this transparency slide. And what we'll do is we'll create this like half transparent way you can see the entire recipe, but for concentration purposes, you only want to highlight things that you want to show and talk about in the demo. So let's just adjust this so it actually covers everything. There you go. Right, perfect. So what then you should do is create a copy of exactly the same shape. So by copy C, copy V, and then make it smaller and drag it all the way up. And the other old copy, make it also smaller and minimize it, like have it smaller, so drag it down. And what you will have is basically two different shapes that have this transparency overlay. And now what you can do, as you see, is that you can adjust the height of those shapes and create this demo. So how you do this is, now you need to duplicate all those slides. Let's say you want to show 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, or 5, or unlimited steps. Then you will need to, for each step, have another slide that you have duplicated. So in my case, it will be 4 or maybe 5. And in the first step, I will have maybe the recipe that is fully open. In the second step, I will only show the first step. In the third step, I only want to show the search customer in NetSuite. So you see that it will just resize the shapes. In next step after that, I will resize the shape so it looks like it just follow to the next step. And let's see. And the final one, let's say it will show this one. So now we have, you see, a little overlay that activates, goes through, goes through, goes through. You can play with it in full screen. So Mr. Customer, this is what we have done in a trigger before. New account, Salesforce updated. Then we wait, search in NetSuite, if, and then this. Done. So this is some slide overlay. There will be some examples in this slide on how you create it. So if you watch the video, if you want just to follow here up, and there will be also an example here on how this can be done. And again, this can be used to either give this kind of like a slide demo to customers so they can show on their own side, or do like a recap demos for the customer after I have maybe demo a couple of times with them. And that is for my tooling. Thank you.